Hello. Hello. What have we got? Let's see. Are we live? What do I um hello? Hello. Hey. Okay. Live there. Let me just put my phone on the silent. Oh, it's already on silent. I didn't turn it off. Take it off silent. Sit there. Go away. There we go. How about here? Hello, Twitch. Hello, Twitch. Oh. Okay. Did I start my browser before I started Jack, maybe? Look, it looks like it's working, and I proved that audio was working on my phone, so we're just gonna go with it and say that it's fine. Yeah. Let's do these things so I can see chat. And find the mouse for my computer. Here we go. Let's see if we can avoid using it. Hello. So another short one today, but you know, being semi-consistent, second time this week, that's pretty good. Okay, that's what there's my carrot. Let's start. Quick load ST engine. Start the project and immediately have errors. What have I done? But we can see that I've so I didn't have enough time to stream. I was like, oh, I've only got half an hour yesterday, so instead of streaming, I did just play with the code a little bit. Let's have a look at that, because my error is going to be in here. So I think I had this working. It was compiling a class at least at the end of last stream. And so I have made a make character function, basically constructor, that creates, I changed it. So instead of it creating arrays with data in, because I don't want to give it a new array, I'd have to make a new array to give it if I was to do it that way. I've instead got a constructor that makes empty arrays full of zeros and is then looping through what you give it, which will just be lists, because that's what Lisp is good at doing, processing lists. And so it probably, well, hang on. I had this, which means that worked, which means that this is the form that didn't work. So if I get rid of that, save that, those will work and just not do anything. Retry ASDF operation. There we go. Everything worked. So let's make you the REPL again. We can jump down to the bottom. Make you the character sheet code. In fact, we're going to get rid of this window and then remake it. Not that one. It's WV. Split on the side and put the REPL on the side. And then we also want to open a browser. Yep, that's fine. There we go. So that's giving us the page. Everything looks like it's working. And we are good to start doing something. Okay, so where I got to, I have this function that is, excuse me, that is copying attributes into the abilities. No, it's copying the attributes that you give it into the attributes tag. And then I've copied the nested loop. Can I make this take up a little bit less space? Yeah, 1 character, 2 characters, 3 characters. Now, the problem I've got... let's just change this. Instead of attributes, it's abilities. And we want to get the abilities trait and modify that. The problem that we've got is this bit of commented code here. So let me put some test data in. Look, I may as well keep using this bit here. We've got these traits, so I'll just grab them. Abilities. And we'll copy these traits in. I'll just go and tell that to reformat those for me. Now we are calling format T attribute C. C is the character that we are making. The character is getting attributes and nil and nil. So let's give it abilities. And probably the reason we didn't have any problems before was because we were feeding that nil. Okay. I can do this. There we go. And then I can do 20 down. There we go. I can read that a bit better now. Let's do that here. End. 5 up. Equals 15 down. Excuse me. Okay. So, this is fine because we're just going to accept that everything is a 3x3 grid and that it's got 2 values. The values being the integer that defines what the name is, and then the integer that defines what the value is. This one is the same. Integer that defines what the name is, then integer that defines what the value is. So it's only 2 values again, but you can have any number. This one, we're giving it 12 to begin with, so that we're going to fill them all in and then have a few left over to spare. So, theoretically, instead of 2, it should be this. It should be the length. So we're giving it a list of lists of lists. Data that looks like this. So we're looping through the group. There's 3 groups. And then to loop through the trait, we want to get the number between 0 and 1 less than the length of that group. So nth, if I go nth, I don't know, 0 of a list, 0, 1, 2, 3, then it returns me the nth value of that list, right? So nth, 0 of like 1, 2, 3, 4 is going to return 1, 2 because the first element is the list 1, 2. So that's what we're going for, and then I should be able to, if I just copy that length, I can get the length of that list, which is 2. Now, for whatever reason, this macro doesn't like that. So let's hope that I can do let g len go, let's grab this bit here. In fact, we'll change it to glen. So now we've just got glen minus 1 in that spot. We might have to get rid of the minus 1 as well. It might be that it doesn't like a form after 2. I swear I've done this before though, and it didn't care. So let's compile this, and we've got error warnings. We've got a style warning. Is that it? 1 style warning. Which is just that one of the variables we're defining, one of the parameters we're defining hasn't been used yet because I haven't gotten to that bit. All right, let's see if the test runs. Whoa. What happens here? So first of all, we're printing off attributes somewhere. That's inside make character. I've got a couple of these things here. In fact, we should probably do this and make abilities. So we're printing off the abilities. And this one isn't relevant here anymore. So let's print the length of abilities. Length of abilities group. Ah. See, this won't work. No, it will, because we're calculating it for every group that we do. In fact, this should go in here. And then we can... well, we can just do... this and go GLEN now. Let me just compile that. We can jump over here. We can see we are looping through the attributes. Works fine. And then we're printing off in make character. We're printing off the attributes of the actual object. Hey, they've copied fine. And then I'm not sure where's printing that one. Oh, that's the test. I've put these around the test. So, yeah, that hasn't actually printed. That hasn't told us whether or not the test worked, because I didn't do anything to tell me if the test worked or not. So let's put in %A, %A. Let's do that. I will actually go attributes and abilities. And then we can put in abilities C. And now if we do this and jump over here and find where we've run it again, excuse me. We're running a loop. Okay, length of abilities, group 3. Length of abilities, group 3. Length of abilities, group 3. So that's working, but wrong? Yeah, we can see it's copied these, but then hasn't copied anything below it. Okay, what's going on? Well, first of all, at the end of this, we're only printing attributes. So let's print abilities. What are we doing? Abilities. We're copying abilities to abilities. We're getting the length of attributes instead of abilities. Abilities. Always helps if you have written the code that you think that you've written. And so now we do the loop. We're doing the second loop, which is doing a whole lot more. We're doing 9, and then we're doing 10, and then we're doing 3, and it's copying everything. Awesome. Yes. Yep, it's all done correctly. Great. Now, oh, cool. I'm gonna get a parcel today. That's awesome. Okay. So next I want to do this same thing for specializations. And then I want to look at doing info as well. Now, I don't have a way to handle either of those things with traits yet. I think I'm just going to put everything in the one array. I'm not sure. Maybe I should do two. I'm just thinking about how. So currently, I'm only doing. I'm only sending 8 bits rather. So 1 byte across as the indice for the trait. So that's 255. Well, 256 values, right? Adding specializations in is where it's going to. So if I go and add in just every trait into traits, so I add in all the info stuff, so name, player name, chronicle, nature, demeanor, all of that stuff into the traits array, and then start adding, I'll go and add mage spheres and vampire disciplines, and if I go and do that, and just add them all in, that number's going to get large pretty quick. I don't know that it's going to exceed 255. If I add specializations, I think it will easily exceed 256. So, and specializations are going to be character driven, right? So it'll be, as I'm adding in characters, I'll be adding in specializations, and then all of a sudden, it could get pretty messy pretty quick, and we'd have a potentially large number of words. So I could just bite the bullet, put everything in one thing, and make that 2 bytes of information. And so for every thing, we send 2 bytes of information. Or we could send 1 byte of information for a bit of a savings on the data that is going to be transmitted the most versus the data that is not going to be transmitted the most. Because specializations, it's going to be rare, a lot rarer that we're actually having to send them back and forth. And, maybe that's 2 bytes of information anyway. I think I'd probably still do 1 byte of information and then change it when I exceed 256. Hard question. I think I'm gonna do it. I'll have them as separate. I'll put everything else in traits, but we'll have them as separate. In fact, we will do it. It's a bit of a trade-off because it means I'm going to have to write the code. Even if it is largely copying and pasting the code, I still have to write the code. Anyway, we'll do it. It's fine. So, let's have a look. Let's put in. Let's just copy this. Well, down below this one, actually. No, I just copied attributes to be below attributes, but above abilities. That's not what we want. We want to copy abilities. In fact, we'll grab this one too. To be, in fact, let's grab this. We want to copy abilities to be below abilities and then change everything in abilities to be specializations. So let's go abilities. Specializations. And hope I spelt it right. Ah, that didn't work. Sorry. Let me do that multiple times on each line, and then we can. Oh dear. What have I done? Loop. Yields. Okay. Okay. Abilities. That's the whole loop. Oh, no, that. Why was it weird? So that looks like it didn't have any problems. In fact, if I jump over here and just compile that a few times, just so that I can get the messages in my log a few times, get a bit of a block of them going, that looks like it works. Now, I'm not getting any specializations actually copied. Specializations. But that's okay. C. And then we need to make, I don't know, spec. Instead of using the whole word, this is 15 down here. Grab this. Put it in here. And then change this to spec. And then do this and it breaks. Cool. The value 2 is not of type list. Okay. Nth. I see. So we don't have the same number of, yep. So the data we have defined is a two-dimensional array as opposed to a three-dimensional array, and we've got 4 things, and that's because we have to specify where it is, and we're just going to accept that we know that 0 is one thing, 0 is attributes, or maybe 0 is info. I'm not sure. I haven't made a decision. Maybe I have made a decision. I'm going to remake the decision. I don't know. Whatever it is, so this is wrong. So let me grab this prog n and just get rid of this loop. %d. And I don't need this let at all, because we're making this 2, 4, 2, 3, because we've got to remember 0 is a number that we're counting. We need four numbers. And so we're just going to take this loop and put it outside the let. Get rid of the let. Stick that there. Honestly, I don't. Oh, well, okay. Do we want to take a bit of an aside? Maybe we want to take a bit of an aside and stop doing what we're doing. So, something that I've got here is a whole lot of format statements for logging purposes. It works right now, but my next task, I don't need n. This doesn't work because, oh god, what have I done? N, we've only got 2 loops this time, so that works now. Aref specializations char. Okay, this isn't working. Sorry, I've gotten distracted. Yeah, logging statements. Yeah, okay, I've got these logging statements that once I've finished debugging this, I'm going to want to go in and remove, because I don't want it printing every iteration of the loop every time. So I think I probably am at the point that I need to write a logging library, which, some simple macros, so that it puts the code in at compile time based on some value somewhere. I sort of started to do it. Maybe that's a thing for tomorrow, assuming I stream tomorrow, given the time. And then I can maybe do a logging library in an hour, depending on how quickly I get it to work. Anyway, yeah, what's the problem here? N. Ah, yes. There is no N. So this should work now. Nth. Sorry, yes, there's no N. That's gotten rid of the entire third loop. So I should... hang on a second. It's only ever going to copy 2. That's wrong. So here we do need to calculate let n spec be... It's just the number of specializations. Yeah, so it's just length special. Can I do this? I can do that. That should be good. And then we can go minus n spec 1. And I'm going to call this spec. And we're going to just go through here and change any mention of the word group to spec. And then trait, it's not a trait anymore. It's a n. Because it's just a number. So that should work now. And if we jump down here and do this, okay, nspec is unbound. I know what I've done. I don't even have to look at the code. The loop is not inside the let. There we go, fixed. Do that. Looks like it's run. We've got a bunch of loop stuff. Hey, look at that. And here's the value at the end, and we're not printing... What? Ah. This format has a warning because it's getting a thing and it doesn't know what to do with it. So if I go specializations, we can go %a, not percent, tilde a, tilde %, and then run this and jump down to the bottom, and we've got 2 specializations copied in. Yay! Now, let's add in info. So what is info? It's got an accessor. Great. I think it is also... I think it is this. And let's do here this. I think it's an array of traits. Just the same as the accessor, the attributes, to the point where it's 333 because they do that on the character sheets, and maybe we do change that. I don't know. We can look at that. And so I think we can just add it into here in exactly the same way. The problem is I don't have, so here I've, in these examples, these are all real traits that exist, whereas there are not real traits in the list currently. I could just add them in, like in this file, but I'm not going to do that. I will do it in the initial thing. And it is something that is going, you know what, let's just do this. Add trait intern. So name. I will probably backport this into the other thing. Player. Chronicle is next. If you're familiar with Dungeons and Dragons, this would be name, player, campaign. They use the word chronicle. Maybe I should use the word... maybe I should say campaign as well, because that's more common. I don't know. Nature. Add trait. Intern. Let's capitalize PPCNDE menor demeanor. How do I? Demeanor. Eanor. Yeah. Demeanor. Concept. So. So that's an interesting one. That's just made me think about how I might have to rethink this. So I was thinking that these would be traits that just don't have a rating. When we just know not to print ratings for them. We can still do that. Something I haven't addressed with specializations though, so that would mean that the labels, what you're actually putting in, so when you write your name, when you write the name of the chronicle, when you write your nature and your demeanor, they're currently designed, if we do specializations in the same way we do attributes and we do traits, that it's designed to be a one-word concept, a one-word thing. In fact, you should be able to have multiple traits. In fact, I think that accidentally, I can't remember if I thought about this on Monday when I was thinking about it or not. But theoretically, you should be able to have multiple specializations for one attribute in here. So that's maybe a happy accident, because these three numbers can just be the same. And then it's just a matter of putting them in the same field. So the way I want to treat a specialization is each word, it's a comma delimited list of items, each word being its own, or maybe even space delimited, but each word in the list will be its own specialization. And then when you're rolling, you would pick one if it's relevant. The concept isn't this. In fact, probably name and player, like most people have two names, right? Mononyms are rare. At least mononyms are rare in English anyway. So the data here is different because the data here is not single word. Anyway, not a problem right now. The next thing, the last column in the info is splat specific. So I'm not going to put anything in for the moment. But it's things like if you're playing vampire, it's generation, clan. If you're playing mage, what's the third one? I can't remember what the third one is, but mage would be like tradition, sect. Maybe sect is the third one for vampire. I don't know. So we're not going to put anything more here. I'd better actually run this code. So that I can put it in here. Because I want to have 1, 2, and 3. And this one's going to be 0, 0. Whoa. Zero, 0, and 0, 0. I've done this wrong. That's what I want. That's what I want. Yes. So we're going to have space 0, space 0, space 0 for all of these because we don't have values. In fact, we don't need that data at all. This can be a 2D array. Delete. I have to press 3 times. So let's put commas in here because I'm about to escape a bunch of stuff. But I need to close that. This should be that. So then here we've got trait name. Look at that. Trait. What did I say? Player. Trait. Chronicle. Trait. Nature. Trait. Demeanor. And trait. Concept. And so that's now in that info bit here, we will pass that to make character. Info. And now make character has to take, it does take info. We're making the game character instance. And then we won't bother with any of the, we'll do it if we have to. So we'll go group for group from 0 to, hang on, -1. Can we just do 2? We'll just do 2 for the moment because we've decided for the moment that it's 3, 3, right? So let's make another loop for trait from 0 to 2. Now, the problem is there is a bit of a question that people are going to be asking watching this. How do we know that you've passed in a list with the right things? Yeah, good question. That is something that we should look at. Common Lisp does have the ability to define types. And there is a special form that you put at the beginning of another form. So when you're making a form, when you're making a function, it's defun name lambda list, which is this thing, all of the parameters that you want. And then you've got some special places that you can put stuff. So you can put a doc string in. And it goes, oh, well, I know what this string is. It's a doc string. That's my documentation. Just like Python. I believe this is where Python got the idea. There's also one that you can put in a special form called declare. And it takes a list of declaration specifiers. A list, it takes a bunch of different declaration specifiers. And that is where you declare. So I've used it before to declare that these parameters that I'm taking, yeah, we're just going to ignore those. So if I go ignore info, it's going to tell me that, oh, I can put multiple input. I can do that. There you go. But it's basically saying info, yeah, we know we're asking for info, but we're telling you right now that this function isn't implementing info and it's doing that on purpose. So don't warn me about it. Is it optimize? It's not optimize. Oh, I might need to spell it with a Z. I need to spell it with a Z. So declare optimize any, so I can have speed 1, space 1. Oh, maybe that's the default. So speed, I can declare that I want it to be fast, and I can have 1, 2, or 3. It defaults 1 for each of the values. I can have space. I'm guessing that's make this function as small as possible. I can have safety, check as many things as possible, make sure it's as safe as possible. And I can have debug. Put in lots of debug symbols, I guess. Put in extra things for helping debug. Or stop it's probably more do less optimizations so that debugging is easier. Maybe that's something I should look at declaring. And then there's compilation speed as well. So I can make compilation speed faster, but that will come at the cost of the quality of the code that comes out. Which is interesting because you actually do it per function. So in here, I believe that there's also type. Yeah, so I can do type and make type specifiers for things. So a type specifier is going to be like info is a list, I think. I'm going to have to look that up when I actually go to do it. But that will be how we do it. And so possibly I can, maybe not, I might be able to say this list has to have these dimensions. It might not like that. I might need to do arrays instead. And I could take arrays and change it and take arrays because you can declare an array like this. This is an array of 1, 1, 1. I'll do it over here so that we can just run it. 1, 2, 3. That's a 4. Fat fingers, great, good for me. Go me. But so I could do that, and maybe that's the answer. But yes, this is something. This function is one. I'm often of the opinion that with these languages that don't have built-in inherent type safety, I'm of the opinion that a lot of the time, sometimes you need it, sometimes it's good, and sometimes it doesn't matter. And I like this balance that Lisp has where you can declare when it matters and when it doesn't. And it doesn't matter. Like if I do a math function, if I'm writing, let's just def on plus n plus plus. This is a thing that Lisp doesn't have. Lisp has plus plus n, which it's called incf. But it doesn't have that n. This is very obviously a maths function. And the implementation for this is prog1 n. Inc f n. So that is the implementation for that function. I'm not going to compile it because it already exists in this project as a macro. I think with the same name. So I think that I'll create issues for myself when it starts erroring, going, oh, we don't want to declare this function over the top of this macro. I don't need to specify what that is. It's a number. If you're looking at that and you don't, if you're looking at the API and you can intuitively tell the type, then it's fine. If you're looking at the API and something's a bit complicated, like in this make character thing, well, then yeah, it makes complete sense that you want to specify those types. But when it's that obvious, yeah. And we do have the advantage that it isn't JavaScript. I know that a lot of people, if you're watching, you've done JavaScript, you might be going, oh, but we need type safety, because JavaScript does that thing where what 1 is equal to 1. No, it's not. Those are not the same. We don't have that here. Things have to be of the same type. So here, I mean, yeah, we could put things in. I guess that by going through and just telling it, oh, all of these things are lists. I think I saw recently, actually, that you can also do this. And so I think that might be telling it that the info parameter must be of type list. I need to read about that. I'm not 100% sure. Whoa. Let's put this back in. Constructor for game character object returns an object, and we should put in parameters to do list what goes in, returns to do. I can just say game object, game character object. New. It's a new game character object. Anyway. So that we've got a string because it was there and I had to do it. Let's finish implementing the info. So yeah, So we've got this let here. We've got an unknown number of groups. So let's make, oh no, we do. I was just saying we have, these are known things. What am I talking about? There are three. There are three. So we can go set F to set field for a ref. And it's info char, because we've called our character char. And we want to give it group and trait. And then we just want to, oh, hang on. Those go in there. Here we go. And we want to get the nth position of trait, because we've got to do this backwards, of the nth position group in, what's it called? Info. And so this should compile. And then if I jump down the bottom here and make info space tilde tilde %, and then make info C, we'll save that and then run this. It's going to error return a value as the slot value. What's your problem? So I've got the accessor info. That's fine. Return a value as the slot value. What are we doing? Slot name, info, game character. Oh, hang on. I don't think that I had recompiled that, and so it didn't know that it needed to actually make an array in there. So it's erroring because there's no value to return. And so now if I do this, it works. And we can see info is full of 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, and 78. So we now are representing, we're now able to store data in a character object. The next thing for this is to turn that into a JavaScript representation. Let me really quickly I just want to see if this works. Format T %A. Oh, in fact, I can just do it in here. We'll just do this. Let me say two of those, no, three of those. We'll go two. I'm just, to make it nice and easy that we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2%, we'll go 3%, 3 here, 3 here, and we want to pass it PS. Whoa. Where to go? Whoa, what have I done? PS to get some paren script, and then str. So it's Lisp. It's Lisp. I want the Lisp representation of C. Let's see what this does. Compilation finished, no warnings. And at the bottom here, we get null. It doesn't know how to do that. Okay, fine. That's right. That just means that we have to work that out ourselves, which is what I expected. So, next thing to do for the character is to work out how to do that. And then we'll be able to create a character, display it, give it into the JavaScript, and then get the JavaScript to build the character sheet. Based on the actual things that are in there. So, however, I think tomorrow or the next stream, I'm going to instead look at changing these logging statements. I'll write a quick logging thing. That way we'll know what something is, right? Okay. Thanks very much for joining me. I do have to run. I hope you're enjoying this. I hope this is interesting. I'd love feedback. If you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment. If you haven't watched this on YouTube, you can go and watch it on YouTube and leave a comment. I need to sit down and actually put links to different things. I have a Patreon as well. No one knows about that. I need to sit down and work out how to do that. I've been hesitant about it because it means working out Twitch's rules. I remember that Twitch was banning people who had links to other platforms in their descriptions. So maybe if you're on Twitch, you just don't get that. I'm not sure what will happen there. I'll have to check what the rules are. So thanks. I will check all that out at some point. Yeah, jump over to YouTube, leave a comment, like and subscribe. I think I'm supposed to tell you to do that. And yeah, thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.